What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Black Professionals Project. My name is Kenton Hipsher, as you guys should know by now, but if you don't, I am the CEO and founder of the nonprofit, and our mission is to educate and inspire Black and Brown youths by exposing them to careers via Black and Brown professionals, like the one that we have today. Mr. Goalie himself right now, all beefed up because he's been out here hitting the weights, is my man, the homie, Mr. J.
Hi, everybody.
What's up, man? How you been doing?
Pretty good. Living through a pandemic.
I hear you.
Kind of crazy right now. I know I look bigger. I think I used to be even bigger when they had the gym open, but probably shrank down a little bit. But
so Jay he's out here looking swole, but don't get it twisted. He was much bigger before this. So the man's been putting in the work, not only in the gym but also in his profession, and that's what makes him a professional here today. So thank you, Jay, for coming on. We appreciate you. To get it started here, please tell the people what your profession actually is and what industry you work in.
So currently I'm a production engineer at Toyota Material Handling. We build forklifts. And so I pretty much assist manufacturing with any problems they have, like if a piece of equipment breaks down or needs some kind of improvement, or somebody's shoulder hurts because they're doing this same motion all day. I'm supposed to solve those kinds of problems. And yeah, just maintaining and improving the factory for productivity, quality, and safety.
Gotcha. So you're the ergonomics guy. You're the one doing all the assessments, making sure I have things at a proper height in the factory.
Yeah, that's one of the things we look at. We have a safety department that, will point stuff out that they think would be an issue. Then we go in and investigate and determine if it doesn't follow our standards. So. Yeah,
man. I used to work in a small factory in a warehouse, and let me tell you, this is not easy. This is not easy work. Being on your feet for sometimes, 9-10 hours at a time. Them mats do not save you. They do not save you.
Yeah, I get my steps in, so.
You definitely get your steps in for sure, man. And I know, it's the little things that we don't really think about that are actually very important. For example, the one that I mentioned, having things at the proper height for you. It's, if you're doing something just a one-off, it's not that big of a deal. But when you work in a factory and you have to do things thousands of times, it becomes a real issue. So, it's tough for a lot of people. But that's why we have you. And thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah, I try.
So tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Jay. Describe your ethnicity and where your hometown is.
So as you can see, I'm African American. I recently found out my ancestors are from Ghana. I thought that was really cool to find out.
West African boy.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, that was kind of cool to find out. So originally I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. Moved to Terre Haute, Indiana to go to Rose-Hulman when they gave me that full tuition scholarship. Couldn't turn that down. So ever since then, I hate interviews. So the first interview that went well, I accepted the job, and that's the job I'm at right now. So, and I kind of enjoy it. I'm learning a lot while I'm here. So,
yeah. Well, I'm happy that you're, dealing with the interviews yourself and learning to, sharpen those soft skills, because technically we all know you know how to do what you do, right? You're a boss at what you do. But at that same time, it's very important for you to be able to communicate and understand those things. So I'm happy to hear that you're working on that. And, you're becoming successful at that, obviously, because you have a job. So we give you kudos for that, man. So from Kansas City, so who has the best barbecue? Kansas City barbecue, St. Louis barbecue.
Everybody always asks me that question, but I've never been a huge barbecue fan myself.
Oh man,
I'm not a huge. I think Gates was the best I've ever had, but barbecue as its own cuisine, I'm not a super big fan of, I guess.
Okay, so are you a Chiefs fan then?
Yeah, I became a Chiefs fan when they got in the playoffs.
No, Jay, that's not the answer you have to give, Jay. You have to say, I've been a ride or die since I was born. I've been a Chiefs fan all my life. That's
what I tell people usually, but I'm trying to be more truthful. But yeah, no, I'm not like a huge fan of any football team, but if there's one I'll support, it's the Chiefs.
So, talk to us a little bit about what a typical day in the life is for you in your career, because there's a lot of different engineers who do a lot of different things, and some of them have very similar titles. So please share with us what you specifically do.
So my days usually consist of working on larger projects, like factory improvement projects. And when I'm not doing that, it's usually because I've been called by manufacturing, like they're having some kind of issue with this equipment's not working right, or this bracket on the part that we're building isn't placed correctly. Like that's a quality issue. So when I'm not working on larger projects, it's usually helping them with something that they're doing. The bigger projects are definitely my favorite part because there's a lot of design in them, and I love design. The more frustrating parts of the job is when they have a quality problem, like this thing is like a millimeter too far to the right, and you got to find out why it is. Because honestly, a millimeter will cause a huge issue down the road. I've learned attention to detail at this job.
That's crazy to think about, man. I would to me, is that 1 millimeter really going to be that big of a difference? Like that's my thought. But I know for vehicles, like moving parts and things and machines in general, it makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I ask that in my mind every problem that comes up. I'm like, is this really that? But it usually stops the assembly line from putting the truck together in some way. So that's a big skill I've gotten, attention to detail. But yeah, that's a typical day. Just big projects, and when they call you, go assist as much as you can.
Okay, gotcha. So really, you're the saving grace of the company. When it all goes bad and it hits the fan, Jay is there to say, "Hey, let me put this cape back on and go save y'all."
They would have gone bankrupt without me by now. No, I'm just kidding.
There he is, folks. Jay, aka Toyota's Black Superman.
I do everything perfectly.
So, you have a lot of responsibilities in your role. And I'm sure with that comes some challenges that you have to face, right? So, can you share with everybody what a couple obstacles are that you faced in your career to this point?
I think the biggest obstacle was our quality problems, like the whole millimeter thing, because there are some people out in the factory who like work and actually build the forklifts, who do not recommended things. Like sometimes when a fixture's not working, they'll like hit it with a hammer, and that'll make something move how they want it to, and that might bend something, and then that might cause something to be placed incorrectly. And you have to investigate all that. So you look at the parts that came to your department for them to build it. Are those built or made correctly? You look at your fixture and see if it's placing things correctly. You ask the associate, did they do anything to the fixture to cause this or anything? And they always say no, but we found that's not always true. But I think the one of the larger obstacles is investigating quality issues, because it really could go any way. Like I've definitely had issues that I'll be looking at them like, why is this bracket wrong? And then on the next trucks they build, it's right again. like I didn't even do anything. Like I'm looking into it and the problem sort of disappears, and it can get kind of rough, kind of frustrating. It feels good when those disappear though.
I'm sure less on your plate.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one of the biggest obstacles, the issues that you can't seem to find, even when you invest a bunch of time into them. Let's see. I think another obstacle is when you don't really get along with management. Me and management had this whole argument over salary and stuff and things like that. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but it's kind of hard to get back to the job and do it, with dignity and with effort and answer to this person when, he pretty much told you the opposite of what you wanted to hear when talking about salary, because salary is really important to your livelihood. But yeah, dealing with managers, not just people who are over you, the guys out in the factory who might have caused that quality problem. At this current position I'm at, it seems like they really don't like reprimanding certain factory workers, even when they do something incorrect. And when that happens, when they do something incorrect, instead of asking them, can you not do that? They come and ask us, how do we prevent them from doing that? And that could work for sometimes, but a lot of time it's just, carelessness by that person that caused it. And I can't, prevent carelessness,
Yeah. People are going to be people regardless. That's always a factor in any business. That's nothing you can really change. Oh yeah, definitely. But
it'd be nicer if they were, asked by their management, please don't hit this with a hammer, So, like, I'm not even asking for people to get fired or anything. Just, tell them, that hitting it with a hammer is not okay. But, but yeah, those are a few obstacles. So I think no matter what career you go into, no matter what workplace, I think one of the biggest obstacles will be the people you work with. And you're going to find some people that you like to work with, are good at their job, good socially, they can speak really well, but you'll also find people who you rather not cross paths with. I think that's one of the bigger obstacles you'll have anywhere.
Of course, man. Of course. I think those challenges that you face are something that a lot of people face, right? Like, for example, dealing with management, the salary conversation is always something that you have to navigate. It's either you accept it or you challenge it. There's usually never people going like, oh, let me just pay you more money. Like they're usually never saying that.
You never just agree to it. Yeah.
So I understand, man. And quality issues, especially, and dealing with people is always going to be a huge obstacle for a lot of people. So with that, thinking more about it, when I think about your role and sort of what you do, I kind of get the misconception that you're the bad guy of the company, right? Because I've worked in a factory and there's always a bad guy. And that bad guy is usually the guy who's in management or something that's going around checking quality of something. So what would be one misconception that you would say people have about your career? Do they actually think you're the bad guy or what?
No. So I think that's a misconception. Like I think I'm like the superhero, and then like a bunch of other departments are the bad guys. So for instance, we're not the ones who identify quality problems. Usually it's quality engineering that'll say, hey, this isn't right, fix it. And then usually when they say the stuff like that, there goes your day. Like that's what you'll be on for like the rest of the day. The safety department, they're like, this rack is a little bit too high. Make a whole new rack to lower it. I'm like, and then there goes probably 2 or 3 hours out of your day. So yeah, I have a lot of antagonists towards my role right now. But yeah, we're usually the ones who fix the problems that other people identify. So that's why I think of me, production engineers, as a superhero, and then everyone else is the villains.
Gotcha. Okay. that's,
Yeah,
that's always interesting to think about, because like, man, working in the factory space or warehouse space is something unique that if you haven't worked there, I don't think you'll really understand it.
Mhm.
And like, my parents had a logistics company or a trucking company growing up, so I've been to probably hundreds, if not thousands, of warehouses by now, and they're all different. Like, they're all different people. They all have different setups, and there's always a whole new set of problems, and it can be often really challenging. So it's good that we have superheroes like yourself, especially Black superheroes. Black Superman out there. Go ahead, show him a little something. Get going with him. You know what it is.
In mind, they're smaller than they should be.
Catch him after the Rona. Don't play games with Jay out here.
Yeah, August 26th. That's when the gym reopens. I can't wait. Got to mark
P90X is not cutting it for you right now.
It's not enough.
I feel you, man. I feel it. So what gets you excited about this career and motivates you to do that? And really, before you get to that point, I guess, how did you get started into this career? Because I can't think of many kids who are thinking like, I want to be a production engineer when they're like 8 years old. So how did you get here? Like, was there any courses or like groups or programs in high school that kind of led you towards engineering or anything like that?
Honestly, not really. And I think there should be more programs like that. But I remember talking to my friend Chris in high school, and he told me he was going to be an engineer. I was like, I'm gonna look into that because I don't know what I want to do. And I looked into it, and engineers make a lot of money usually. So I started to get into it more. I've always loved math and science because the answer is never like subjective. You can never like interpret the answer and then from that get another answer. It's usually like an absolute thing, like 2 + 2 is 4. That's it. But yeah, I didn't care for English and reading and stuff like that because you could interpret this clause in the complete opposite way depending on who reads it. And I didn't like subjects like that. So I love math and science, and then heard engineering makes a lot of money, so started to look into it. And I applied to a few places. And then I remember getting that full tuition scholarship offer from Rose. I remember visiting Rose, and I was like, this is a really nice campus. All the students there who were walking us around and everything were really nice. They seemed like they were really fulfilled. And then this is a smaller part, but I remember my stepdad telling me, he's like, why do we even come here? We know you're not gonna do it. We know you're not gonna come here and attend this school. And I was like, want to bet? And then I accepted the offer just to prove him wrong. But yeah, that's what got me going towards engineering. And then Rose specifically was a lot my stepdad.
So really what happened is you got challenged. He straight up checked you. It was just like, yo, you ain't really gonna do this, are you? And you was just like, bet.
Because by that point I knew I was gonna do engineering. Like, I think I applied to Mizzou and I had like all costs taken care of. And he was like, you're probably going to go to Mizzou anyway. And I was like, we'll see about that. You want to say that, but yeah, I think interest in math and science, and then the compensation for it is what got me going towards engineering. I love it. Engineers are problem solvers, and I like to solve problems.
So what would you say like gets you up out of bed in the morning though, and gets you motivated to do your job every day?
I think the possibility of learning more gets me out of bed every day. Because this job that I'm working right now, it's full of mechanical engineering technicians, not mechanical engineers. And so mechanical engineers are more like on the theoretical side, like we do the calculations, we design stuff and make sure it can be okay. But technicians are the ones who actually build it. you know, they actually put it together. And so at this job, I've learned a lot of hands-on things like welding, machining, and I've learned a lot more about design for manufacturing. You remember that class at Rose? Building things or designing things that can actually be made, and designing things that you could, you know, make yourself. And sometimes I have to do that. But yeah, I think I've learned a lot, and that's what gets me out of bed every day. You know, learning things that I can use later down the road.
That's dope, man. That's really great. I'm happy that you found something that makes you happy ultimately. And it wasn't something that you were even initially thinking about. Like literally, it was just a friend who had mentioned engineering to you, and now you're doing what you're doing now. So it's cool. Like that's what I'm trying to communicate to everybody out there who's watching. Is, you know, everybody comes in the same situation that you just don't know what you want to do usually when you're young, when you're in high school or you're in college. And I'm hoping that these videos will help you guys ultimately decide what you want to do by hearing the stories by, you know, professionals like Jay or some of the other professionals we've had on here to, you know, just provide that representation that, hey, I'm Black Superman out here and I'm doing this, and so can you. You could be as big as me and do engineering at the same time.
You Black Superman.
So you know, with that, I think we've pretty much covered everything. So in closing here, I just want to ask you two questions. The first question: what would be some advice that you would have for young Jay, or, you know, a young Black or brown youth out there who wants to follow in your footsteps or pursue a career like yours?
Like mine, like engineering, or just...
Yeah, like, well, specifically like your career too.
My first bit of advice would be don't be afraid to make mistakes, because everybody does at some point. What I've realized in this job is that even like managers and, you know, presidents and stuff, a lot of them don't really know what's going on a lot of the time. Like, and there's nothing to be ashamed about if you don't know. Sometimes just, you know, keep learning and keep bettering yourself.
Okay, great. Anything else you want to leave with them at this point?
Do push-ups.
That's right.
Yeah. If you're looking to go into the professional, I guess, area of the workforce, I think engineering is a great way to do it. And if you love math and science, then please look into it more.
Great, man. I appreciate it. You know, last thing here, do you have any closing thoughts or shout outs you want to give? Shout out to the moms, to the stepdad, to the pops, anybody like that, or any products or, you know, things you're working on that you want to plug at this time?
Well, shout out to my mom for, you know, raising me well and making me want to succeed, you know. Shout out to my stepdad for convincing me to go to Rose. Thank you a lot for that. Yeah, just shout out to all my family and friends. Thank you all for all your support and good college times and stuff.
Of course, man. Well, with that, we want to thank Jay again for coming onto the platform. We appreciate you, my man, as another Black professional, aka the Black Superman out here. We appreciate you. And at this time, I'm gonna look to the camera, as I always do, and remind you guys to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We want you to catch all these careers, all right? We don't want you to miss anything. We need you to be aware, and we need you to see that there are faces and stories that sound and look just like yours. So you can do this. There's paths out here to get there. And if you don't know what you're interested in, then hopefully this will educate you and inspire you to try to go down one of these paths. Now, before I close, I just want to say, make sure you check out the description. You know, look down there, because there's going to be a lot of resources. There's personality tests to try to identify what personality may fit you best. It may help you figure out what career fits you. There's career placement tests, so you can see what careers match your interests. There's links to different programs that you can pursue, like paid summer internships, paid summer research programs. There's all sorts of resources down there, so make sure you check that out. And we want to thank you guys once again for tuning in. And lastly, thank Mr. J. And we will see you guys next week, as we always do. Make sure you don't miss another episode every Monday of the Black Professionals Project. My name is Kenton Hipsher, and we are out.
Thanks for having me.